This podcast is brought to you by Radio 786.
Let's now welcome Senior Researcher at the Media Review Network, Dr. Ahmed Jazbhay on the line with us. Assalamu alaikum to you, Dr. Ahmed Harun. Thank you very much, certainly, for having joined us. Clearly an escalating situation with all indications now on both ends that we're perhaps only just getting started, and this is likely to significantly escalate to the point where we are now looking at all outright confrontation with scores of civilians stuck in between.
Walaikum salam, Tashik, shukran for having me. Yeah, I mean, we all saw this coming, from June last year when the Americans were negotiating in bad faith. The Iranians knew and they were prepared for this scenario, which is why they launched their retaliatory strikes with such ferocity on American and Israeli assets in the region. We must emphasize that as well, because they've been intelligence that Mossad operatives have been planning these attacks from Abu Dhabi, from Dubai, and so on certain buildings, civilian buildings, which are subsequently rightfully targeted by the Islamic Republic. So, we are in for the long haul here. The Americans and the Israelis have made no secret about the fact that they want regime change. Khomeini is but one piece of that puzzle. But as you rightfully pointed out, that they move swiftly to try to deal with issues of a power vacuum and so on. But it's no doubt that the Iranians have been hit hard, and they continue to be hit hard. But at the same time, they are hitting quite hard. Now all 6 countries of the GCC, which house American bases, and from which the intelligence is gathered for the strikes on Iran, and they have now been targeted by the Islamic Republic. So, they haven't retaliated on their parts because, none of their assets have been attacked just yet. So we are on the cusp of a regional war, which is something which the Israelis want, but which the GCC countries are keen to avoid. So at the moment, they are just holding back and showing restraint. But I think sooner or later, we're going to have a full-out regional war, which is something which it would be a dream come true for the Americans and the Israelis.
And of course, a significant disruption to trade. The Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of oil flows, has now been shut down. The Ansarullah has indicated that they're closing the Red Sea. Ships now have to travel the long way around, passing South Africa, the Cape of Good Hope, and that, of course, significantly impacts trade. Oman has just within this hour also confirmed that a Palau-flagged oil tanker called Skylight was attacked about 5 nautical miles, it's about 9 kilometers off Oman's coast. 4 people were wounded there. Bahrain is confirming that there are incoming projectiles in another wave of Iranian attacks. In Saudi Arabia, there's reports of explosions being heard. Very interestingly, in northern Pakistan, there are protesters there that have also targeted the American embassy. This idea of a regional war comes at a significant cost, both in lives and, of course, trade. And I wonder what an off-ramp looks like for either party.
Very interesting question. I don't think there is an off-ramp here for the time being. None of the parties, and we're talking about including the GCC countries, are interested in an off-ramp out right now, because these attacks on Iran represent an existential threat to the Islamic Republic. They're meant to, the decapitating strikes meant to eliminate the Islamic Republic as we know it. So this is an existential threat to Iran, and it needs to retaliate to the point in which it knows that its survival is secured. CIA intelligence says that, they would be unable to overthrow the Islamic Republic because despite the so-called fake protests that happened a short while, a month or so ago, protesters have now gone into the streets in support of the Islamic Republic and the ruling, the ruling government in Iran. So the chances of despite the Shah's son calling this, thanking the Americans for the strike, and calling Iranians to get on the street to assist in regime change, they may, it's unlikely that regime change will occur, because the CIA's own intelligence has said that they are far from the point in which the regime can be overthrown. So there is no off ramp. I mean, as I said yesterday to someone else, is that this is either a fight to the end or the end of Iran. It either deals with the Israeli threat, with the American threat, with the GCC threat once and for all, or sooner or later it will be, part of history. And the same way in which Syria and the regime there became, Assad got a bit cocky, and he thought that, he had repelled the threats from HTS, amongst others. So it needs to deal with this threat one way or another. How that exactly pans out and what they exactly have in mind is anyone's guess right now. But the Israelis are feeling a bit emboldened, with the assassination with Ali Khamenei, and to their calculations, they feel that the missile salvos that have been fired from Iran are a bit below the expectations. But I think that is more strategy than anything else on the part of the Iranians. They're merely trying to ensure that they strike at the right time, at the right place. So there is no off-ramp right now. I don't think we're going to expect... I know Trump wants a short war. He wanted a short war. He talks tough, but he wants a short war. But there is no off-ramp right now. I don't think we must expect... If it does, I would be very surprised. But I don't think we must expect this war to end anytime soon.
Which, of course, is a tragedy on all fronts. But I suppose this is about the fundamental, the nexus question about truth versus falsehood. There are, of course, some that are seeking to dilute that question through a sectarian lens, and we've already begun to see those, seeds being planted. And I want to keep speaking to it, but it is nonetheless a factor. And so I wonder then, what fundamentally this is about if one removes the personalities from all of this, when one begins to understand what, essentially, this time and this moment in history represents. That, it's, as you say, it's a do or die moment, that if there isn't a crushing and a mounting response, and the targeting of the American and, as you say, Israeli establishments or the outposts within the Gulf region and elsewhere, and if Iran falls, just like there were significant, harms done to the likes of Hezbollah and other parts of the resistance, where does that leave Palestine? Where does that leave a Muslim ummah who at this time seems either weakened, and of course the test of time will tell whether it will emerge victorious?
Yeah, that is a good point. We must resist the temptation to fall firstly into the sectarian trap. I've seen it in many prominent WhatsApp groups and so on, where people are secretly and not so secretly welcoming these attacks on the Islamic Republic of Iran, based on the fact that these are Shia Muslims and so on. But it's a very simple response to those who want to fan the flames of sectarianism, is that once they're done with the Islamic Republic of Iran, it opens the way for Saudi Arabia and the Sunni Arab countries and the Sunni countries, the OIC in general, to be attacked. Because remember, this is all about expansionism. This is all about the Greater Israel project, which we've spoken about at length before. So let's leave sectarianism aside, the rally behind the Islamic Republic to ensure its survival, to ensure that we can repel this threat and the Ummah can somehow pick up the pieces and move forward. Because we know for a fact, as you rightfully point out, it's only the Islamic Republic that is helping the resistance in the region, primarily Hamas. I mean, Hamas has released a statement, condemning the assassination of Khamenei, giving its support to Iran. The Al-Qassam Brigades has also done that last night. So, it's clear that the resistance are not falling into the trap of sectarianism. They understand what the bigger play here, and they understand what's going on. So if the Islamic Republic falls, it's game over for Palestine. It's game over in the long run. And the game has started for this greater Israel project. Syria, Saudi Arabia, Iran, parts of Iraq, Jordan, Egypt, and so on and so forth. Many parts of the region form part of the so-called biblical Israel, which they want. So we must resist this temptation of sectarianism, and I cannot drive this point down. Let's leave our sectarian divisions. Majority of us are Sunni Muslims, and we are strong on that path, but our differences with Iran are religious, but politically we can give our wholehearted support to Iran to ensure its survival, because if Iran falls, the resistance in the region is, as I said, game over.
Dr. Ahmed Harun Jazbhay, let's pray that isn't the case. Thank you for having joined us here this afternoon. Senior researcher at the Media Review Network, Dr. Ahmed Harun Jazbhay.
This podcast is brought to you by Radio 786.